Want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day, and I'm so very excited to have my next guest on the show today. And I want to welcome Raymond, and I want to say it's Quattlebaum.
Quattlebaum, correct.
I did it! Yay! Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. I'm very welcome. It's an honor it's an honor and a privilege, Yaya, to be
Oh, thank you.
interviewed by you.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell me, I mean, you got a book out, right? It's poetry. Tell me, how
Right.
did you start this? What made you say, "Oh, I want to put this in a book form"?
Because I've been writing poetry ever since I was young. I was writing poetry ever since, matter of fact, when I was in public school. The teacher ordered the class to write a poem. So I wrote a poem, but the teacher liked it so much, she entered it in the school's newspaper. So it made me feel good about myself and inspired me to write poetry just a little bit more. But as I got older, I wrote here and there, here and there. But it was a singing group called Earth, Wind, and Fire, the elements of nature, their wording, their music, everything about them inspired me to write poetry to the fullest. So
Mm.
then I wrote a poem when I was in my 20s called We Are the Human Race. And from that poem, I kept writing on and on and on. I would let other people read my poetry. So you got some outstanding. You need to do something with your poetry. So my, my girlfriend, which is my wife today, she kept saying, honey, you need to put it in a book. I can understand if your poetry was lousy. I saw your poetry is no good. But you got some good poetry. You need everybody to hear your poetry. You can do something with it. So she pushed me, and as she pushed me, I decided to put it in a book. And then I put it in the book, and then I was thinking of a name, a good name to name it, because I'm touching on all aspects of life. So I named the book Poetry Emotion. So a friend of mine said, what? Out of all the names, you couldn't think of a better name to name your book. You come up with Poetry Emotion. I said, sit and think for a minute. Think for a minute. There's nothing in life that doesn't represent poetry emotion. That name right there touches everything in the aspects of life, period. Poetry emotion is everything in life. There's nothing in life that is not poetry emotion. Yes, that's the perfect title for the name of my book, Poetry Emotion.
Sweetness, sweetness. Wow. So tell me, okay, I know about Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, I mean
Right.
September, Shining Star. We can keep going. I mean, and I know about the way that they wrote their songs was so poetic. But being inspired, what direction did you take your poems in?
What direction?
Yeah, like what is it? Love? Is it what is it?
It's love, it's life, it's understanding, it's tranquility, it's peace, it's happiness, it's joy. I would say sorrow, but there's really no sorrow in it. So it's all the good things that represent the essence of life.
Mm,
Keep you motivated.
nice, nice. And what is your favorite one out of all of them in the book? And I know that may be hard or maybe not. What is your favorite poem in the book?
I don't know if it's in this book or not. Um, I'm not actually sure if it's in this book. We Are the Human Race. This is the poem that and when I listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, they inspired me to write. So I decided to write this poem. Can I recite it for you? It's not that long.
Yes, definitely. Please do.
We are the human race. We are biological creatures living in a corporeal world. Life forces such as matter make us prevail, transform into life because we are born. But the purpose of life is to move on. The story of life is everlasting old. We are all expressions of the soul. The highest form of life, we have the knowledge to think. Lower forms of life are the animals that live on instinct. Embellished in the world of dimensional season. The human differentiation between the two, we have the power to reason. This world is filled with energy connection. The inner you is the outer projection. The world is open. We don't stand still. The human race has free will, power to materialize thoughts, make physical reality appear. Electromagnetic energy radiating throughout the air. Obstacles in life to make the battle hard. Self-esteem is our power we get from God. We are co-creators of the world. It sounds so strange, but life goes beyond the physical plane. What is this brilliant word we call the human race? Could it be the distinction between the color of your face? Perhaps it's the reason why we're all set in place. Ready or not, get on your mark, get set, go. Are they hiding something we all should know? Maybe we're not moving fast enough. Are we really that slow? Could it be the population in which we grow? We had better find out sooner or later because I want to know. Probably it's materialization of man's at birth. No, probably they're trying to set us up to see who comes in first. Take this to the Supreme Court, trial as a case. I keep coming up with this thought. It's probably some kind of race. You keep coming up with the wrong assumption. It does not state the case. Can somebody honestly tell me who is the human race? They have been running the entire world. Are you sure it's not a chase? One thing I know for sure is energy we can't waste. Bring in a team of renowned scientists, have them check out the case. Find the reason why they're here in the first place. I keep coming up with this thought. It's probably some kind of race. No, take a look for yourself. It's something that is seen. Now I understand for sure a race of human beings.
Oh my gosh. That is wonderful. That
Thank
is,
you.
it takes me all throughout the whole emotion, everything. Oh my gosh. If they were right, your poetry should be in a book, and it is in a book. Poetry in Motion. They can get that on Amazon. I absolutely, absolutely love what you did. Is
Thank
that
you.
something that you okay, so do you perform? Do you recite? Do you go out?
Yeah, I usually do how they call it, poetry recitals here and there. I did it once, a few times. I did it for Ashton Simpson Sugar Bar, and then I did a few other places where I recited poetry.
Mm,
But that's something I like to get back and do as well, besides
right.
writing.
Wow, that would be amazing. I think you would do an amazing job at doing that. That would be just wonderful. I love the way it flows. Did you ever take classes for it to flow, or are you just self-taught?
Just self-taught.
That is amazing. That is just truly amazing. And how long did it take you to write this book?
Well, it might have took probably a couple of years because I kept putting poetry together. So I actually met my darling, which is my darling wife today. She said, "I need to put it in a book." So as time go on, every time. So she ready when she's around me. She says, "Whenever I see you going like this or that, I know you're taking it deeply about a poetry." So what she does, she puts a little a pad and a pen at the end of the bed. Says, "Whatever you got inspiration to write, darling, please write. Don't let it go by. Put it into motion." So that's
Mhm.
what I do.
Wow.
And so I got a third. This is my first book. Well, my second book is called The Color of Love. There's another book I got out called The Color of Love. This is well. It's probably on the same level as this book because if I'm not gonna make it as good as the next book, I won't even bother.
I hear
If
you.
I can't surpass it or make it just as good, don't waste your energy. And be wasting energy.
Mhm.
I want to get something out. I want to get something out of what I put in life. So
Yeah,
it's the purpose of me writing to
that
touch
is
the world.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you ever think that you would maybe come out of poetry and do a regular, maybe a love story, a book or something to that effect, or even a biography or a memoir?
That I don't know about that. That that has a lot of thinking to think about.
I mean, you could take one of your poems and expound on it. I think short stories, maybe.
Right.
That would be amazing. I think you have that kind of talent and that kind of flow that it wouldn't really be that hard to start off writing short stories. I think that with your poetry, I imagine the entire story as you just dictated one to me, and I already have the whole vision in my head as to and it's my vision because it's my personal experience that I'm going through as you read and as you dictated the poem to me, it brought up things in my life that I went through that is just for me. I'm sure that it does that for other people. When you wrote your book, did it help you to overcome some things? Did it help you to realize how blessed you were or what kind of situations you went through that you got through?
Well, you know what this book helped me do? It helped me put more confidence in myself, believe in myself even more. That you have the ability, you can do great things. From this book alone, allowed me to do other great things. So I tried to write the best I could write. And then a friend of mine one day said, "You know something? You know what I like about your poetry, Ray? Whether you know it or not, your poetry has a beginning, a middle, and ending, just like you're writing a story. So it's the
That's
same.
and that's what I just said. I said I don't think it's going to be anywhere near hard for you to write short stories. Nowhere near it because it's a complete picture. Like I said before, it is definitely a complete picture from the beginning to the end, and it really took me through the whole wave of my own life as
Right.
you told me about. As you dictated the poem to me. I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. I think you are so talented, and that the
Thank you.
book itself will dictate some things for people as well, and give
Hmm.
them courage. You know what I mean? What
Right.
ultimately do you want this book to do for people?
Like I said, this like a lot of people say, oh, you write poetry? Oh, I don't like poetry. I don't. It's misleading and it's boring. I don't like poetry. So I said, okay, you don't like poetry. I understand, but I'm writing poetry from another point of view, my point of view, because a lot of people find poetry boring, misleading, and they say, oh, it doesn't have no understanding. Poetry is really what you make it. But so I write my poetry, like I said, with a beginning, a middle, and an ending, and has meaning to it. So when you read my poetry and recite it, you understand where it's going from the beginning to the end. So
Right.
this I try to give people a better understanding, a better view of poetry from my point of view as a poet.
Nice. Oh, that is wonderful. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything that you would like to say today besides people can get your book on Amazon to the people that are watching or listening?
Yeah, I'm working on another book called The Magnificent, but it won't come out sometime probably next year. Called The
Okay.
Magnificent. But I want to thank you dearly and honorable, Yaya, for having your show. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate all your time and your effort
Oh, it's been my
having me
pleasure.
on.
You too. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And tell your wife I said she's right. You should continue writing. Keep that pen and pad on the end of the bed. And if you come up with anything, please, please come back. And also, if you ever do more poetry, obviously, but if you ever do a short story book, I'm gonna have to say right now, because we might not see each other in the future. I told you so.
Right. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to have all that information about the book, Poetry in Motion, right in the description box. And if you're watching somewhere else, please go to our YouTube channel where you can get that description, youtube.com/Dream Chasers Radio. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye.